adájọ́ mẹ́ta ìdí tó fi yàn wọ́n ní pé adájọ́ mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta lè dájọ́ sọ́nà kan tàbí tí méjì dá sọ́nà kan ṣùgbọ́n ìlànà náà fi gbé kalẹ̀ adájọ́ tó dá eléyìí adájọ́ mẹ́ta ni ìkànnì àwọn adájọ́ yẹn ó ní justice Kume ìkejì justice Oguli ó jẹ́ méjì obìnrin chief magistrate olùkẹta ẹ máa wà kóòtù lọ́nà lọ ìbílẹ̀ rẹ̀ ìgbà tí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìdájọ́ tí a máa tribunal ó ka ìdájọ́ tiẹ̀ ó dojú òfin ó dàbọ̀lẹ̀ ó gbé oníkàyọ̀ gbogbo fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin ará òṣogbo ẹ máa bọ̀ òṣogbo tó bá wà ní àwọn kókó kárúkà ìnáwó ẹ̀wá kẹ́ ẹ lè má bàbá mi yẹn wá gbogbo òbò tó ṣogbo nì oníkàyọ̀ kúrò gbogbo òbò ọlọ́ọ̀dá oníkàyọ̀ kúrò gbogbo òbò wájú ẹ̀kọ́ dùn oníkàyọ̀ kúrò gbogbo òbò mọ́nílà oníkàyọ̀ kúrò gbogbo òbò tó bá ti di ẹ̀dẹ̀ náà oníkàyọ̀ kúrò ẹ̀dẹ̀ ìfà oníkàyọ̀ kúrò ẹ̀dẹ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ oníkàyọ̀ kúrò oníkàyọ̀ kúrò oníkàyọ̀ kúrò ìgbésàwẹ̀ ẹ̀yẹ̀ tó wá dé PDP bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n wá dé ojúlówó ọmọ Òṣogbo èmi ò rò pé ọdún tó mú ìka rẹ̀ kó fi tẹ̀ka fún APC o nítorí pé kí sọ ní pé ẹ̀yin Òṣogbo bẹ́ẹ̀ mátà ó ní kò yí òṣèlú ní o ìdámà kankan bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dé ojúlówó ọmọ ẹ̀rìn àbọ̀ máa lò nílẹ̀ tó ọdún mi ò rò pé kó fi ìka rẹ̀ tẹ̀ka rẹ̀ fún APC o orí ìdájọ́ sọ ní pé àwọn tá a wá rẹ̀ pọ̀ nù àdámà kankan bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dé ojúlówó ọmọ ọlọ́ọ̀dá kò yẹ kó dìbò kò yẹ kó tún wá dìbò rẹ̀ fún APC o bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ní nìlá tí ẹ̀ bá wá yọ ọmọ ọkọ ẹ̀dẹ́ ní ìfi ọmọ òbí kò yẹ kó ní APC rèé kó wá tún tẹ̀ka kó àtẹ́tẹ́ náà àtẹ́tẹ́ fà bẹ́ẹ̀ ní kò fi dé dìbò bẹ́ẹ̀ ní kò fi dé gbẹ́dọ̀ rẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ní lówó fún bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ní ìgbésàwọ̀ náà ibi tí mo wá lọ lélẹ̀ adájọ́ mẹ́ta adájọ́ kan wá adájọ́ fún APC ó ní kó ìtọ́lọ́ padà bẹ̀ tí ó sì ní padà bẹ̀ láíláí adájọ́ míì ó dájọ́ fún PDP ó dá èrú lélẹ́yìí báwo la ṣe lè rí ìkẹ́ tí adájọ́ ti dá ní pé gbogbo kọ́mísì èdè tá a fíìlì ní unity tákẹ́rì tó ṣe wà ń bẹ̀ disco wà ń bẹ̀ tẹ́tẹ́ẹ̀tì wọ́n sáyìn ó lóun kò wó máṣí ìta dídìbò ó lóun ṣe kí ni ó ní ìsọ́ọ̀tì tó wá látòrí sápà adájọ́ kejì níra ara o ẹ̀mẹ́jì àtẹ̀kọ́ bọ́yọ̀ ẹ̀mẹ́jì àṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ náà lọ́dọ̀ àwọn tí ẹ dìbò wọ́n ká òun wọn ẹni tó pẹ́ tó wà ní ẹgbẹ́tì ní unity ẹgbẹ́tì rẹ̀ sáyìn ó tọ́ bọ̀ wí kò dẹ̀ sọ ọ̀kan tó bá jù pẹ̀lú rìsọ́ọ̀tì yẹn ní unity àìmọ́gilé rìsọ́ọ̀tì kan lò ní unity fún mi ṣe a àti bí wàá gba sí ìdájọ́ fún accreditation yẹ ká wò nígbà tá a lè wò ó kò fún papọ̀ tì ń bẹ̀ àlè wò ó. Ẹ̀wọ̀n ọ̀gá bàbá bàbá mi lọ sẹ́wọ̀n kó ní adájọ́ méjì adájọ́ kẹta obìnrin ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn lára ní bá tó ṣe adájọ́ wá gbé ẹ̀tọ́ jálága ó gbé microphone ìgbà tó wá gbé microphone fún ó bá gbà á ó dẹ̀ ra sọ̀rọ̀ dẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ó ní mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín mo kí yín gbogbo akitiyan yín ẹ ṣeun ẹsẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe wá ọmọ ọba ló bá sọ yín délé àrùn láti mọ ríra ìṣú àlá ẹsẹ̀ àdúgbò rẹ̀. Mo sọ mo ní wọ́n gbé microphone fún ìgbà tí wọ́n gbé microphone fún ó kí lé ikú mi sọ ní pé ó yẹ fóun gangan ọjọ́ péjì rẹ̀ ní ó kọ́ lẹ̀ kó wá sọ ẹni tó ń bá fara mọ́ ìdáwà tó sọ pé ìdájọ́ yẹn wá wà nìyẹn kò kọjọ́ péjì kankan kò sì sọ nínú kóòtù pé òun fara mẹ́rin kankan nígbà tó wá yá ta wá gbẹ̀yìn jáde wọ́n wá lọ gbé tó péjì jáde pé nígbà tó dé inú ilé ó sáyẹn Sẹ́ẹ̀rì ìdájọ́ yẹn bàbá bá dé ara kọ̀ bá máa sọ. Ìdájọ́ yẹn lẹ́pẹ̀ ní rọ́lítì. Ìdájọ́ tó ti dòkó. Òfin wà tó ti lẹ́yìn ní kéde pé àṣẹ kí ni o, àwọn òbínà àwùjọ afẹ́. Àkọ́kọ́ nìyẹn, ẹ̀ẹ́kẹ́jì tí mo fẹ́ bá jẹ́ wò. Ọjọ́ tá a dìbò, ẹjọ́ níbi tí gbogbo wa ti dìbò. Ǹjẹ́ ààrẹ ń kankan mẹ́? PDP wọ́n lè ní bóyá àgbẹ̀lẹ̀ yìí wá ní. Láti fi hàn wá wípé ẹjọ́ bádà ò lẹ́sẹ̀ lẹ́nu. Yàtọ̀ sí fáwọn ọjọ́ sọ fáwọn ẹrù. Yóò ní ti jẹ́ dúró lé lórí wípé wọ́n lọ gba rìpọ́ọ̀tù. Wọ́n wá ń pè ní bíbáṣ rìpọ́ọ̀tù lórí sábà. Àwọn ẹlẹ́rìí tó dẹ̀ fún wọn, wọ́n wá tún ṣù rìpọ́ọ̀tù míì. Wọ́n ṣàlàyé pé táìmù ta fún ilé lè yìí o. Kíní yóò tí ì synchronize kò tí ì update tán. Wọ́n adájọ́ wá ní rárá. Òun ò ní bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́kọ́ gbọ́ nínú òfin tá a ní. Téèyàn bá bẹ́ẹ̀ gba certified true copy. Òfin gbà wípé ó gbọ́dọ̀ sanwó. Òfin yẹn sọ wípé kọ́ ọ tó lọ gbà o, ọ̀pọ̀ payment yẹn pé ọgbọ́dọ̀ ṣe kí ni o. Owó ṣiṣẹ́ condition business ẹ wá máa gbọ́ tí jọ́ọ̀jì yẹn dá o. Bí AAPC wọ́n gbé certified true copy bíbáṣ report sábà report fẹ́ẹ̀tì wọ̀nyí. Wọ́n gbé wá, wọ́n láwọn gbà ní 27. Wọ́n wá mú rìsíìtì tí a fi gbà wá. Rìsíìtì jẹ́ ọkọ̀ 28 sí rìsíìtì. A sì fi hàn adájọ́ ní òsè kankan. Ẹ̀rọ kọ́ ó bá dé wípé owó ní kọ́kọ́ san, owó ni wọ́n kọ́kọ́ san, kí wọ́n tó gbà á. Déètì mú kí déètì owó jẹ́ 27, tí wọ́n gbà ní 28, tàbí tó jẹ́jọ́ kan náà. Ìdí wọn mú wá jẹ́ 27, rìsíìtì tí ẹ láwọn fi sanwó jẹ́ 28. Ẹni tẹ́lẹ̀ ìdí nìyẹn. Síbẹ̀síbẹ̀, adájọ́ ní òsè kankan. Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gì bí wọ́n fàṣì náà lò fẹ́ gbé sí alókúta bí wọ́n tẹ̀ka fún wa. A kó wá sí ilé ẹjọ́ ní òun òwò, ọdún ìṣẹ́jẹ olóhùn. Kí ni gbogbo ẹ̀ tó ìka mẹ́tàlá nísìn? Adájọ́ tó dájọ́ ẹjọ́ tí a dá òkú ni lórí. Àwọn nǹkan tá a kó wá sí ilé ẹjọ́ ó yẹ kí adájọ́ wò tí ó wò, gbogbo rẹ̀ ni ó wò ní kọ́tọ̀ bàbí. Rìsíìtì tí a láwọn fi gba nǹkan ní 20 ká 20, èèyàn fi rìsíìtì 28 gba nǹkan ní 27. Wọ́n ṣàlàyé rẹ̀ fáwọn adájọ́ kọ́tọ̀ bàbí. Ìyẹn ni mo fi ní pé ẹjẹ́ àwọn kan wá balẹ̀. Òkú abódìẹ tí ẹ bá gbé fún yàn, tí ẹ ní kó pamọ́, téèyàn bá lọ gbé ìsàbá lórí ẹni, abódìẹ yẹn ó jẹrà síbẹ̀. Ẹyin náà kò di òkú aláìní. Òkú abódìẹ ni wọ́n gbé lé wọn lọ́wọ́.
Joining us now on this show to discuss the judgment of the Osun Governorship Election Petition Tribunal are Liboros Oshoma and Matthias Emeribe, both lawyers. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, there are many matters arising from this ruling by the Election Petition Tribunal. And apart from your general take, I would just like, both of you to deal with some of those issues. One, yesterday, all through the weekend, there was this reaction that, Justice Kume was even singing Kiss Daniel in a paragraph, and that a judge should not go in that particular direction. Anyway, I have an idea what to say, but let me just state the matter. Second, there was also the allegation that the third member of that panel merely co-signed the judgment by the chairman of the tribunal, and that to that extent there was no valid judgment, because a second judge or a third judge in a three-man panel, you are supposed to write and sign your own judgment, not to co-sign. And that to that extent, the matter will not stand. Let me just bring up a third one, which is also a view that has been expressed by a lawyer, Femi Falana, SAN, who says that the main problematic here is the performance of INEC, and that the people of Osun should go ahead and sue INEC for messing up their votes in those affected 744 polling units in 10 local government areas. Let me start with you, Liboros, and then we'll come to you, Matthias Emeribe, to have your input.
Quickly, I want to start from section 47(2) of the Electoral Act. It says, to vote, the presiding officer shall use a smart card reader or any other technological device that may be prescribed by the Commission for the accreditation of voters to verify, confirm, or authenticate the particulars of the intended voters in the manner prescribed by the Commission. And then if you go to section 51(2), it says, where the number of vote casts at an election in any polling unit exceed the number of accredited voters in that polling unit, the presiding officer shall cancel the result of the election in that polling unit. So this is where I also align with the position of learned senior advocate Femi Falana. The report, there are 3 reports, not even 2, 3. The first report issued to the petitioner, that's the APC. The second report, which INEC claimed was the complete report, issued by INEC and then also exhibited by the PDP, the respondent. Then the third report is the examination of the machines in court by the tribunal and the report generated thereto in the course of examination. And all of these 3 reports, there are discrepancies in all of them. And so the minority judgment believed in the report generated from the beavers in court and says, look, had blamed technology and lack of amenities to support the back end on what led to that incomplete report. INEC relied on that their own report. The question one will now ask is, why issue a report that you know is inconclusive? Also, INEC has said the beavers do not need network to work and that they are very prepared, but that to upload the information from the beavers to their back-end server, they will require a network. So if the information on the back-end server that was viewed by your followers, also as announced by INEC, contradicts the information on the beavers examined few months after the election, does that mean that the result as announced by you also had questions and was incomplete? So, but here now, section 51(3). Here now, section 51(2) says once the number exceeds the number of accredited voters by the technology to be deployed by INEC. And so the technology deployed by INEC, even in their 2 reports, reflects overvoting, apart from the examination of the beavers in open court. So what this states is that INEC still needs to do a whole lot to assure people that elections will be truly fair and transparent. Because if you now get to tribunal, yes, we know that this technology can fail. How sure are we? What is the capacity of people to examine all the machines that are going to be used or across the federation in a presidential election matter? So
you said something concerning the issue of the signing of the document. Now, I think that would be a fundamentally legal issue to be addressed subsequently. Because I find it curious that in a 3-man panel, when they ought to have expressed individual opinion, a particular judgment was, you signed on that same judgment for which the majority judgment has been given. No, I think the proper thing to be done in my own position, and I think there's even an authority to that effect. If you go by Wike's case, if you go by NASCO's case, it is to the effect that, I think it is to the effect that they must express their opinion individually. So if you agree with the majority judgment, we must see where you have said it. So to not sign on that particular thing, well, I think that is left for the court of appeal. That is if they have gone to the court, but I know as of now they have not. If not, I won't have commented on it. Thirdly, it's on the issue of where the learned Sikh said that they should sue INEC because of what happened in that 744 local government. I want to think with the greatest respect that I don't think INEC has done anything wrong here, for all intents and purposes, and these are my reasons. Now, it is good for us to appreciate the facts first. If we don't appreciate the fact, we'll end up missing the point in terms of what we're talking about. Now, we're dealing with his primary and secondary documents here. Now, what is the primary document concerning this election? It is the BVAS machine as used in the various polling units. Then what is the secondary document? It is the BVAS, or what we call the backend server at INEC head office, as it were. Now, the election day, the day the result was announced was on the 17th, which was a day after the election. Now, it was on that day that the petitioner applied for the backend server result to be released to him or to them, as the case may be. Now, what's one to that? What's one to that? The report was made by INEC concerning what was done. Now, people blame INEC that why would you release? The question is that at all material time, as an official body, once an application is made to you, you must oblige that of you must answer or give effect to that application and then endorse it. If you do otherwise, the suspicion will come in that there's something you want to hide. So I don't see anything wrong. Yes, I don't see anything wrong with due respect. Yes. I don't see anything wrong with all due respect for INEC issuing a certified copy on the day that application was made, so to speak. What I'm simply saying is that in this matter, once overvoting is alleged, pursuant to all those provisions of the law under the Electoral Act, as my latest colleague has rightly cited, the reference as to whether there was overvoting or not is always at the polling unit. This time, it is no longer reference to the voters register. It is reference to the BVAS machine as used in that polling unit. That should be the proper, because that is the primary source of information. Every other source cannot stand where the primary source exists. You can only make resort to secondary source if you don't have what? The primary source. It has always been the state of our law. It's like in Evidence Act, when we are dealing with documentary evidence, it has always been said that the best evidence rule is the primary document, or better say, the original document. It is when the original document is not available, you resort to the what? To the secondary. If the primary source is resorted to, I guess we will not have been in this quagmire that we are talking about. And that is why I align myself with the position of the dissenting judgment, even though for me, it wasn't fully appreciated in terms of how it was said, so to say. But I still feel that that in itself captured what was actually in stake, because we are dealing with what? Overvoting, and which can only be determined at the primary source where the election took place. I believe that if there is proper training by INEC concerning those who are going to make it of it, I'm talking about the stakeholders, and the stakeholders for this purpose will include the judges too, who are going to hear matters of givers. If they don't have the knowledge of it, with the greatest respect, this kind of judgment can come, because you won't expect that because of, okay, let's even assume but not concede that it is the mistake of INEC not to have synchronized before what? Coming up with those documents. And indeed and in truth, there was actually an election where the current governor won. Would there have been justice in such a case? No. At all material time, the court will be looking at it that, let it not be that if I give any judgment, it will be against what the people of Osun wanted, and not on mere technicality. So coming back to the point, without saying whether the judge was right or wrong, my take is that what is most important is whether the document or the report that was used or that the INEC gave concerning what happened at the polling unit, that is each of those diverse reports, whether they were used. So now says an afterthought. Mind you, The beavers itself machine cannot be manipulated.
Thank you.
Whatever that is inside remains so.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Quickly. So lastly, on the issue of the judge having to co-sign, I think that's a fundamental error also that ought not to have happened.
Okay.
And anyway, the matter will be taken on appeal. Yeah. And the issue of go lo, I also felt, I was like, this shouldn't have even come up in the first place.
No, but the point you made is that a
yes.
judge can speak obiter.
It can speak obiter,
what we are interested in is the ratio.
Yeah, but then that will now bring to question the mindset of the judge, and then people begin to scrutinize such judgment. I agree, but
which both parties said